What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Do y'all remember the video that we made about the different types of personalities you're gonna meet in basic training? Like, I mean, I'm still laughing to this day at some of those different types of personalities, but in today's video, we're gonna talk about how to deal with those personalities and the inevitable clash that you might have with some of them. The last few videos that we've made have been really like educational and a lot of information and stuff like that. And I wanted to make a video where I can share some stories with you guys about different stuff that happened to me while I was in basic training. So let's run it.
So catch me if I fall.
So in basic training, you're going to be dealing with a lot, right? You got physical training, you got mental training, you got, personal growth, but something that you can't predict are the people that you're going to be living with. You're going to be living with people you didn't choose, sleeping next to people you didn't choose, and working with people that you definitely didn't choose. And sometimes you're going to be dealing with people that's personality is like the exact opposite of yours. And that's when like little shit starts to become annoying, right? So today we're going to talk about the different type of people that I encountered and how to deal with them just so it doesn't make your life worse. First one we have is the mama's boy. Now, hold on. Before anybody gets offended, hey, there's nothing wrong with loving your mom, right? I love my mom. I try to call my mom whenever I can. Like, there's nothing I wouldn't do for my mom, right? And yes, you should call your mom. You should, tell your mom that you love her. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're calling her in basic training. The problem is when you get to basic training and you realize, oh shit, mom's not here, right? You can't just call mom and be like, hey, mom, I don't like my drill sergeant. Mom, like, how do I wash this? Or mom, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, mom, these people are being annoying. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with calling your mom, especially if you want some guidance and that's been a rock in your life. Like, hey, by all means, call your mom. But yo, like, let's be real now, right? We're in the Army. And I get it. I get that some people go in young. This is probably some people's first time ever leaving, their home, leaving mom, leaving dad, leaving their loved ones, right? I get that. And that's one of the hardest adjustments that, you're gonna encounter, because basic training is gonna force you to become more independent. Nobody's coming to make your bed. Nobody's coming to wash your clothes. Nobody's coming to fix your uniform. Nobody's gonna come remind you where you put your equipment. And nobody's gonna be able to call the drill sergeant to bail you out of PT. You have to start figuring things out for yourself, right? And this is the interesting thing, right? The mama's boy is usually not a bad soldier. They might be squared away sometimes. They just need to learn how to become independent. And honestly, that's understandable. I mean, we were all there once, right? And like I mentioned, somebody was probably leaving home for the first time. Somebody was probably taking care of all of their appointments, their meals, their laundry, their room, keeping track of important stuff. So I get it. And I mean, I know that's not everybody's case, but sometimes it is. And then suddenly they're standing in a bay, full of 60 other people, and then you have a drill sergeant tell them that they have to be somewhere in 5 minutes. I mean, that's a big adjustment. Let's not front and just say that is a big adjustment. But here's my advice if this is you, right? Don't stop talking to your family. Definitely don't stop loving your family, right? But just stop depending on them to solve your problems. Call your mom because you miss her. Call your family because, they motivate you. Call home or your friends when you need to talk to somebody. But before you pick up that phone and, try to ask somebody to figure something out for you, try to figure it out yourself. Ask a battle buddy. I mean, read the instructions, right? Pay attention. Think through the problem. And I mean, by that point, if you still don't know, then yeah, go ahead and ask, because that's how you build independence, right? If you're a battle buddy that is dealing with this person, don't clown them. Maybe a little bit, but all in jokes, right? But don't necessarily clown them. Help them learn. Show them how to do something once, and then, after that, then let them figure it out on their own. Because the goal isn't to turn them into somebody that doesn't need their family. The goal is to turn them into somebody that can function, without their family or away from their family. We had this one guy in basic training, right? I mean, he wasn't the type to say like, oh, like I don't need, I need my family, or, oh, I gotta call my mom, or I gotta go home, right? But sometimes you can just tell. I mean, when you see these individuals, sometimes you're just gonna be able to tell. And, any little thing will turn into like a big problem. Sometimes they're a little bit whiny, right? Like kind of like a kid. And for example, right, about like something small and him also not being organized. We were almost late to formation one time because we were gonna go like on a ruck or something like that. I don't remember what exactly it was, but we were almost late because he couldn't find a shoelace to one of his boots. A single shoelace. Like, one, how do you lose one shoelace, right? And two, we have an extra pair of boots. Like, you're gonna get issued 2 pairs of boots. So he was going crazy. We were almost late, and then I had to go and focus on that issue. Like, well, yo, what's going on? What's up? Why are you going crazy? Oh, I can't find my shoelace. I just pointed at the other boots and I was like, just use those. Like for now, you can find your shoelace later. You're gonna get everybody smoked because you can't find your shoelace. Like put that damn thing on and let's go. And honestly, I mean, those are some of the little things that you're gonna end up laughing later on. Like I'm laughing right now about it, right? But at the time, I wasn't, because we all almost got smoked for it. And it's also for him is part of growth, right? Now understanding that he should know where his equipment is before we do any movements or before we do anything. And even in real life, he needs to make sure that he understands where all his stuff is, for him to succeed in whatever it is that he wants to do. And we never found that shoelace, by the way. Number 2, the slacker. And this person can really test your patience like quick. This is the person that can't get their uniform right. This is the person that can't make their bed right. This is the person that doesn't care about being late. And then sometimes they just don't want to do stuff. Like they just literally just don't want to do it. And somehow every time the rest of the platoon is going to pay for it. Because that's one of the things that you're going to learn in basic training. Like your mistakes are not your own. You can be completely squared away. Your locker is immaculate. Your uniform looks good. You're standing there in formation 5 minutes before formation is supposed to be there. And then you find out somebody else forgot their canteen. Congratulations. You're about to get smoked.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
We had this one guy, right? He didn't start the cycle with us. He came from a different platoon, but since he came from a different platoon, he already came with bad reputation and stuff like that. And I was PG, and I was like, we can get this guy squared away. Like we can show him how we do things around here and he's gonna get in line. Wrong. Man, this guy just could not get it together, right? He could not get with the program. And something that happens in basic training, after the first couple weeks, you're gonna get issued your weapon, right? And then you have to go everywhere with that weapon. Any big events we have or wherever we go, we're gonna have to carry that weapon. I don't know what he did in his last platoon, but his weapon got taken away and they didn't give it back to us. Like I think we tried to get it back at one point, but they didn't give it back to us, right? Well, here comes the forge, right? And then one time we're pulling security, and then if you don't know what pulling security is, we basically get lined up in like a defensive line or like a perimeter, right? And we look down range and we keep a lookout. Well, since he didn't have a weapon to be pointing down range, he just laid on his back and took naps all the time. Boy, that used to piss me off so bad. I used to be so annoyed because since I was PG, it was my job to go around making sure everybody was awake, making sure everybody was doing the right thing, pointing down range. And him and I always got into it, right? Because he's not doing it well. Somehow the drill sergeant found out. Drill sergeant found out he's taking naps, so he goes over there and asks him like, hey, what's going on? Why are you taking naps? He decides to turn around and tell the drill sergeant like, oh, well, since I don't have a weapon, it makes no sense for me to be looking down range or pointing down range. Wrong answer, buddy. Boy, drill sergeant smoked his ass. Drill sergeant smoked him and then grabbed my weapon and gave it to him. Right now, I'm not gonna lie, low key, I was a little upset that he gave him my weapon because, like I said, we had this weapon for so long, right? By this point, I've had it for like 2 months. You grow a bond with your weapon, right? That's my baby. You know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, now this guy has no excuses, right? And I remember on a ruck back, we had to ruck back like 12 miles, ruck back onto post after the forge. And, he looks at me and he like grabs the weapon and tries to hand it to me. And I'm like, nah, player, that's your weapon now until we get back to post. Don't do that. He was pissed, but I mean, there's nothing he could do about it. And this is the same guy that had the balls to tell me that he wanted to go special forces. Like, what?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You can't even do basic training right. What makes you think that you're gonna be doing special forces? Like, come on now. Anyways, here's where you have to be careful, right? Because there's a difference between being frustrated and becoming part of the problem. You can complain about him, you can embarrass him, you can make fun of him, or you can pull him aside and say, hey, listen, this is how we do things. And yes, I know, I tried that. I tried that many times, but sometimes you can't save everybody, right? You can't save everybody. But as long as you put your part, you did your part and you tried, then hey, that's what matters.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I didn't do fucking shit.
But that doesn't mean that everybody's gonna be the same way. So, this is my advice to you. Get frustrated in your head, not out loud. It's gonna cause problems. Help them when you can, but don't enable them. And if somebody refuses to improve, then hey, that's no me, papi. You know, that's on them. Let the training do it. Let the training process iron him out. Number 3, the complainer. Every platoon has one, right? This food is terrible. This ruck is terrible. Like, these beds, these bunks are horrible. This bay sucks. You know, life sucks. And then you look down and, you know, somehow this person's been complaining for like 6 hours, right? Look, I get it. Basic training sucks sometimes. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be frustrated. You're allowed to have a bad day. But there's a difference between, man, this sucks, and man, this sucks, and I'm gonna make sure everybody around me knows it too. Because misery is contagious, right? And this is the time where you have to kind of protect your own mindset. If they say, you know, if you're going on a ruck with them and they're just like, oh yeah, this ruck sucks so much, and you know, cut them off, like, yeah, this ruck sucks, and go about your business. Keep it going, right? You don't have to necessarily sit there and take all this negativity, right? All that negative energy, you don't need that. There's already enough negative energy coming from the drill sergeant. You don't need any more. Now, for this one, we didn't necessarily have a specific person that was like that, right? I wanted to add this in there because you're gonna run into them. We had some people like that in my basic training cycle, you know, but I want you guys to understand that don't feed into that. Don't dwell on that negativity. There's already too much negative stuff going on around you for you to do that and let, you know, your mind slip. You don't have to argue with them. I mean, you can tell them to shut up. Like, you know, you can just tell them straight up, because at the end of the day, this is your battle buddy too, right? You can tell them, hey, things don't suck that much. Like, you know, quit whining. Let's do this. This sucks for everybody here, but, you know, get your head in the game and let's move forward. But remember, like, you can't control how somebody else feels about basic training. You can only control what you think and how you feel about certain situations. Now we have number 4, and man, like this one. Okay, so this one can make your entire basic training experience miserable if you let it. Once again, if you let it. The drama starter, right? This person always has a problem with somebody. Hey, like, you looked at me wrong. Hey, you know, you touched my stuff. Who touched my stuff? Even though nobody touched their stuff. Somebody said something, like, you know, somebody disrespected them. And then after that, then you have a whole situation, right? If you engage in that, you have a whole situation. And this is the thing, like, if you're in the civilian world, you can just kind of walk away from that, right? But you're going to be living with this person. You're going to see this person day, afternoon, night, middle of the night. If you got fire guard with this person, like, you're going to constantly be with this person. So if you let every little disagreement turn into like a personal battle, you're about to have like a long 10 weeks. And then this is where you're gonna have to learn one of the most important things in basic training. I mean, in the Army in general, but especially in basic training, like, don't take things personal. Just don't take it personal. Drill sergeants are gonna be saying stuff that sounds like they're talking to your soul, right? But just don't take it personal. If the drill sergeant is saying it, is most likely for your betterment, right? But if somebody else is saying it, it's just trying to stir you up. It's trying to get you fired up so you can throw hands or whatever the case may be. If somebody doesn't like you, okay, like, if somebody has a different personality than you, all right. Somebody says something you don't agree with, roger that. Sometimes the best response is just to, like, walk away, right? Even though you're gonna be with this person 24/7, sometimes you just gotta walk away and just let it be, because the argument is just not really worth your energy. But if there's an actual, like, confrontation, if there's an actual issue though, that's when you're probably gonna have to, you know, most likely just talk to your PG, right? Talk to your PG, see if you guys can squash it, you know, solve the problem. But, you know, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes, you know, you're gonna have to handle it. And I'm not advocating for you to go out there and fight. That's not what I'm saying. I definitely don't want you to fight, because you can get recycled or just get kicked out. But you do have the right to stand your ground, right? And some of these people, what's funny is that some of these people that you have confrontations with are probably gonna be like some of your best battle buddies down the line. Like, you know, I had confrontations with a couple people, and then we ended up being like super cool after we had those confrontations. There was this one time, right? Like, we had this one guy. He was more than capable of doing everything we were doing, right? Physically fit, like everything. He could do all of that stuff. But he just lived in his own world. Like, he didn't want to be bothered. He didn't want to be talked to. Sometimes some people would talk to him and he would, like, just straight up ignore him. Like, talking to him face to face, but he's acting like he's looking through you. Like, he can't even see you, right? Because he was just in his own world. He did his own thing. Sometimes you might have to leave these people alone, and that's okay. But, you know, I was PG. I have to deal with everybody. One day, drill sergeant is going to call me down and say, hey, bring so-and-so down here with you. Somehow, drill sergeant found out that he's just not getting with the program either. He's doing whatever he wants and all these different things, right? So we go down there. Mind you, I don't know what's going on. I get told to do something. I say, yes, drill sergeant, and I do it, right? So I went down there, took him down there, Can't really remember what it was that the drill sergeant talked to him about, but what's important is that we were coming back, and here it goes, right? Talking. He was just like calling me out my name, you know, telling me that I'm a snitch and stuff like that. I didn't even know what we were going down there, bro. Like, I didn't even know. So like, what are you talking about, right? But he's calling me out my name, saying all these things. By the time we get into the bay, now it's a full-on argument. Like now it's getting heated, right? We ended up, like, he kept following me. Like, I went over by my bunk, and I started putting stuff away because it was at night. And then, you know, we ended up having to be separated because how the argument was getting. And, you know, what really took him over the edge was when, you know, he was talking about my age. And some of you guys that are older, you guys might encounter something like this, right? He was talking about my age. He was telling me about, you know, oh, you had to, you know, you're in the Army and you're 37, you know. And what really hurt him was when I said, yeah, and I chose to be here. You're in the Army because you had to be here. I chose to come here. Ooh, ooh, that hurt him. That hurt him, right? And he wanted to throw hands then and there, but we weren't gonna do it, right? And then I told him, hey, we're going to the same AIT. We're going to the same AIT, and we can handle that there. But bruh, to give you guys a little background, right? This guy was like maybe like 5'8", 5'9", like solid 210 pounds of pure muscle. Like, this dude was stocky. He was like an amateur boxer, right? He was one of those that would wake up, you know, and then just get in front of the mirror and like practice his combos and stuff like that every single day, right? Did I want to fight him? Hell no. No, I did not. But like I told you guys, I'm gonna stand my ground, and I'm not about to run away from nobody, right? Sometimes you're gonna have to run into those encounters. That's something you're gonna have to learn. There's a lot of testosterone going on in basic training. You know, there's a lot of, it's a heated environment for males or females, doesn't matter. It's a heated environment. So just, you know, be ready that some of those things might happen, and you got to learn how to deal with those situations. If you can skirt it and, you know, walk away, then do that. If you need to talk to your drill sergeant or talk to your PG, then, you know, go ahead and do that. But don't be scared to stand your ground, right? But I'm not telling you to go get kicked out of the Army or get recycled. That's not what you want to do. But anyways, me and Buddy ended up being super cool. We ended up being super cool for the rest of the cycle, and then also when we went to AIT. That's my boy, and I hope that, you know, I hope that he's doing well. What's going on, guys? If you're enjoying this video, drop a comment for your boy, hop on the Discord, let's chat it up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because you guys know I drop heat every single week. Now let's get back to the video. Number 5, we have the rank puller. Now you're not really gonna see this in basic training because, well, you're probably gonna see it more in AIT, and then when you get to your first duty station. The reason why you're not really gonna see it in basic training is because they make us all fuzzies. Well, for our cycle, they made us all fuzzies. What that means is you take off your rank, and you know the little Velcro fuzz stuff that you have on there. That's why you're called a fuzzy. Everybody is at the same rank. You know what your rank is, but you know nobody's treated differently. Everybody's treated the same when you're in basic training. Since you're not gonna really run into that in basic training, I wanted to include it because you're gonna run into a different type of form of this in basic training, which is like if somebody gets a little bit of authority, they turn into a general. Like they're top dog, top flight security of the world, Craig. Like that's them now, right? And here's the thing, like sometimes you have to respect the rank. You have to respect the rank, the position, even if you don't respect the person. You know, that's the Army. To be honest with you, that's the Army. There's people that I've had issues with, but I can't say nothing, right? Because they are, you know, they are above me, and that's just the way that the Army is. You have to respect the rank. You don't have to like somebody to work with them. Like you don't have to agree with everything that they say, and you definitely don't have to become their best friend. Like your job is to remain professional at all times. Well, we had this one guy, right? We had this one guy who's super cool. Like whenever he was, you know, when he was regular fuzzy, he was super cool. He was like this tall guy. He's always able to help us out doing any type of physical event or whatever. You know, he was really good at PT. He was actually, you know, his background was like super cool too. So he was a cool guy, right? But then as soon as he got PG, because before me, he was PG. So as soon as he got PG, Buddy turned into somebody else. Like, I don't even understand. Like, everybody in the Bay was like, yo, what's going on? What's going on with Buddy? Like, you know, telling people to shut the fuck up. Like, you know, telling people what to do, like in a certain type of way. There's a way that you got to talk to people. You got to learn how to talk to people, especially if you're in leadership. You guys that might want to be PGs and things like that, you guys got to think about it. think about how you talk to people. You don't talk to everybody the same way, and you definitely don't disrespect somebody just because you're in a higher position or you have higher rank or something like that. Like, you know, that's a responsibility that you're taking on, and you know, don't waste that. Don't use it in a bad way, because nobody's gonna like you. Nobody's gonna want to do things that you're telling them to do. That's just not a good way to lead. And another thing, he would get like super overwhelmed. He'll get super overwhelmed about little things, and you can see it. You can see him going crazy about what's going on. And one time when he was PG, I mean, this is no fault of his, right? I think this is actually, we did like a unanimous decision on this. So at the end of the night, there's this rectangle in your bay, right? It's a drawn line, right? And that's called the kill zone inside. You're not supposed to step on the kill zone, but drill sergeants will tell you like toe the line at 1800 or something like that. Like, we're gonna be up there at 1700, toe the line. So you get there. For this time, they told us like 1800. I think it was like 1800 that they told us to toe the line. We were there, right? We waited. 10 minutes went by. 40 minutes went by. An hour went by. Now everybody's going crazy. Like, yo, what is going on? Like, what did the drill sergeant forget about us? Or is this a test? Like, we actually thought, I personally was on the test side. I was like, I think this is a test. If they told us that they're gonna be here, if they told us that to be there at that time, they're seeing how we're gonna react, right? But he was the PG at the time, and he was going crazy. He didn't know what to do, right? What's going on? We ended up being on that line, standing there for like 2 hours. It was crazy, and it was like we had to be up early the next day. So people just started being like, man, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble, bro. I gotta do my laundry. You know, hey, I gotta go do something over here in the bay to get ready for tomorrow. I gotta do some stretches or something like that. So people started dispersing, but we were there for 2 hours waiting for the drill sergeant. Just sitting there. And to be honest with you, I think the drill sergeants forgot about us, because they never mentioned it. We never mentioned it to them. And you know, that's something that happened there while he was being PG. I mean, he only lasted a week, right? Thankfully, he only lasted a week. And I can't blame that situation on him, because it's mostly the drill sergeant. But you can tell how he was just dealing with the situation. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know, you know, to maybe talk to everybody and see what everybody wanted to do. And if we're going to suffer as a platoon, we're going to suffer as a platoon. If we're going to stand here and just stay here and wait all night as a platoon, then we do that, right? But you have to be a leader. But he doesn't know how to talk to people, remember? And then he's talking to people all types of ways and sideways. Don't do that. Take that lesson away from this. Don't be that leader, right? Talk to your people. Number 6, the loner. Now, I want to be careful with this one, right? Because just because somebody likes to keep to themselves doesn't mean that they're a problem. Definitely not. Some people are introverted. Some people like to just keep to themselves. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when people stop communicating with other people, they stop asking questions, or stop connecting with people around them. Because basic training is not made for you to do everything on your own. It's a team effort. You're going to need your battle buddy. You're going to need somebody that's going to tell you like, hey, like, you're missing this. Hey, formation is over here. Hey, like, don't forget your gear. And sometimes you're just going to need somebody to simply just say, hey, bro, like, you good? Like, you cool? And if you're naturally the quiet person, like, hey, that's okay. You don't have to become like the loudest person in the room overnight, right? But like, just make an effort, especially in basic training where you're going to need your battle buddies. Make small conversations, right? Like, ask them where they're from. Ask them what they like to do. Who knows? Y'all probably play the same games. Y'all probably play the same games when you're back home, and you know, you're probably going to grow a friendship over that. And if you're on the other side, like if you notice somebody that's alone, somebody that, you know, doesn't talk to nobody and just keeps to themselves, like, go talk to them. Tell them, ask them what's up. You know, you can ask them like, hey, like I said, bro, like you good, right? If they don't want to talk to you, that's fine. Don't force nothing. But at the same time, you don't know what people are going through. That person could be going through something, and you know, you could be the person to pull them out of it. Like I said, I almost quit when I was in basic training. Now, I wasn't quiet. I'm anything but quiet wherever I go. But, you know, I was going through some stuff, and some battle buddies helped me get out of it. So just make sure that you're there for your battle buddy, even if they don't tell you necessarily, hey, that like I need help. Number 7, the person who constantly talks about quitting. Every hard event, I'm done. Every long run, I'm quitting. Every time a drill sergeant gets loud, like, hey, I'm going home, right? And again, hey, it's okay to have a bad day. Like, it's normal to have a bad day. I bet you there were times when you were, you know, so tired that you questioned where you were. You questioned the decisions that you made to get you there. But there's a difference between saying like, man, I'm having a bad day, or just being the person who's constantly talking about quitting and talking yourself into quitting and getting the people around you to like jump on board. right? Because my drill sergeant said this, and you're gonna hear it, right? The fastest way out of basic is by graduating. Graduation is the fastest way out of basic. You don't want to be that guy that decided to quit and then you're there watching your battle buddies graduate, because you will be processing out for months. You will be there doing shitty details, watching paint dry pretty much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whenever we go to a movement and we got to put our rucks down, you're probably going to be the guy standing there in the sun staring at the backpacks. You don't want that. If you think you're going to be like this type of person, just take it one day at a time. You know, the best thing to do is just take it one meal at a time. If you can make it to breakfast, you can make it to lunch, and then you can make it to dinner, and then repeat, right? Another thing that my drill sergeant used to say is that, you know, the days in basic training, the days are long, but the weeks are fast. And you're gonna see that. I used to be like, man, look at this dude, right? Like, what is he talking about? But no, like it was fact. Like, I didn't know how many things we could, we crammed so many things in one day that it was crazy how much things we did. But yet we would get to the next week so fast, and you look back like, damn, like we're already sick, you know, in week 6, we're already week 8, we're already about to graduate. Like, it goes by like really fast afterwards. So man, just focus on your next step. That's it. Just focus on your next step. And if you are dealing with this from another individual, right, tell them that advice. Focus on your next step. Let's do this. We can do this together, right? And get him out of there. Here's the thing. You can't pick your platoon. You can't pick your battle buddy. You can't pick your bunkmate. You definitely can't pick your drill sergeant. And you're going to meet people who frustrate you. You're going to meet people who annoy you. You're going to meet people who are completely different from you. But here's something that I need you guys to think about too. It's like, you don't have to like everybody, and not everybody has to like you. It's okay. But learning how to work with these different types of individuals, I mean, that's the real skill that you're going to develop, that you're going to want to develop, because it's going to help you when you get to the real army, right? If you get somebody that's above you, like you get an NCO that doesn't know how to talk to people, or an NCO that, you know, is one of these type of individuals, how are you going to deal with it, right? Are you going to get yourself into trouble? Are you going to get yourself kicked out of the army because you did something dumb? Or are you going to use what you learned from basic training and apply it to that? And in regard to basic training, just remember your goal. Your goal is to graduate. And while you're going through the suck, remember your why. Everybody's why is different. Remember your why, and you're gonna graduate. Basic training is hard enough, so don't fight battles that you don't need to fight. You can't control the people that you're gonna meet, but you can control how you respond to them. And if this video helped you out, you guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Peace.